I don't know if I like it here. This is spooky. Anyway, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one of our weekly Moriarty the Patriot discussion videos. Today we're going to be talking all about episode 9, A Study in S Act 2. But before we get into that, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all. Let all of AnyTube know that you're here. Okay, and with that said, oh man, this episode, okay. Yes, as you can see behind me, this episode does have some spooky moments. And by spooky, I mostly mean just like stuff that is like unsettling, like the violin that plays while while Jefferson Hope is like giving Sherlock his big ultimatum is like, this is spooky. I don't like it. It's spooky. I mean, I like it because it's supposed to be spooky, but like I'm scared. It was really solid. And I think the biggest thing for me in terms of this week's episode was the amount of fan service on display. Like that, I think, was the biggest thing for me. And when I say fan service, we tend to think of stuff like Keijo. I have Keijo on the mind because of the podcast we're doing. The Keijo Chad podcast. I'm going to be, doing the podcast over on Twitch talking about Keijo. Yeah, that's random, I know, but it's cool. But anyway, yeah, it's not... When I say fan service in Sherlock, I don't necessarily mean that kind of fan service. I don't mean, like, anime titties and anime booty. That's not quite what I mean. Or anime abs, whatever. No, what I mean in terms of fan service in this particular case is the amount of stuff that is a clear nod to the fans. Like a clear nod to people who love Sherlock and love seeing these like little moments with these characters, and a lot of nods, right? Like even references to the Holmes canon. And it's just super dope. And I think, like, even just off the right away, like right from the beginning, when Holmes is like, Lestrade, you're gonna have to let me escape. And of course Lestrade's like, yeah, what? For a second, right? He's like, what are you talking about? And then Sherlock's like, you're gonna have to trust me. And then Lestrade just, he just lets him go. And he just trusts him. And to me, I'm like, that's very much who Greg Lestrade is. Since when have you been going by Greg?
That's his name.
Sorry, again, Sherlock BBC references. Is one of my favorites. I have many, but yeah, just seeing Lestrade like not so much defend Sherlock, because he does have to still play to the other detectives at Scotland Yard, but the fact that he is like clearly on Sherlock's side and trusts him is really cool. Like the fact that he's like, no, Sherlock is the smartest man that I've met. He will figure out a way out of this. I'm gonna like pull on the horse's reins and be like, oh, sorry, I lost my control over the horse for a second there. That was crazy. Oh, it looks like Sherlock got away. Funny that. Yeah, so it was cool to see Lestrade let Sherlock go. But that's not even it. Like, I think for me, the biggest nod, well, not the biggest nod, but the biggest, like, hint and a wink to the fans, that was me attempting to wink. But the biggest, like, wink to the fans was the immediate willingness to risk danger when it comes to Watson and Holmes. The fact that immediately Sherlock's like, hey, so just so you know, I'm a wanted man now, so you might not want to be seen hanging out with me. I won't feel bad if you want to run away. And of course Watson's like, yeah, right, and then I'd have to pay your half of the rent. No thanks, right? And it's cool to see how quickly Sherlock and Watson have already joined up together. Like the fact that they're just like, no, we're in this together now. We're a team, dang it. We're team, and we're gonna stay a team. And, if you're like me, you're like, oh yeah, they're a team, all right. They're playing for the same team, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, like, immediately I was like, I love how fast these two connected as friends. Like, how quickly that they sort of, like, found each other, rely on each other, and trust in each other. It's just good stuff. Especially with Watson and Holmes, like, you want them to be connected right off the pop, right? Because it's no fun when you have, like, them, like, struggling to figure each other out. Like, in every adaptation that I've seen of Sherlock Holmes, it doesn't take long for Watson to just immediately fall head over heels for Sherlock. And whether you want to view that as just an admiration, or you're like me and you're like, oh yeah, they totally together, that is up to you. But I do think that, like, that immediate connection is very important for these two characters, and I think that they really nailed it. Even just little things like hearing Moriarty say 221B Baker Street, I was like, ah, yeah. Like, just got me all excited. I was like, yes, that's what I want to see. We like to see that. It was good stuff. And I loved the addition of, like, all, like, the stuff from, like, the additional characters that we've seen so far, like Lestrade, Mrs. Hudson. Even though Mrs. Hudson is not quite the way we all remember her, it's still cool to see her. But to me, I was like, friggin' Wiggins is in this? Like, I assumed, like, I'm like, okay, Stamford's in this, so I assume we're gonna see, like, the street kids. I assume we'll see the Baker Street Irregulars at some point. And then friggin' Wiggins shows up. I'm like, Wiggins is in this? Like, just, I don't know. It made me happy. Like, I don't know why I'm shocked. Keep in mind, Fred is in this, right? So, like, I don't know why I'm shocked that every time they pull from Holmes canon. Even Jefferson Hope is the guy responsible in the original A Study in Scarlet, and friggin' John writes down A Study in Scarlet in the journal. It's so good. And even in the original, Jefferson Hope was a cabbie, right? So I'm like, oh my god, it's like, it's all tracking, it all makes sense. It's like poetry, it rhymes. It's so cool. I loved the constant references to Holmes canon throughout the episode. I especially love, like, the Sherlock monologue when he's like, yeah, so the guy, Jefferson Hope, is our killer. He's also our cabbie. Hi, Hope, how you doing up there? Like, what? Sherlock, come on. And so when I say the Sherlock monologue, every version of Sherlock that I've seen has the monologue. They have the moment where they're like, okay, so allow me to go big brain on this and explain to you why the cabbie is the guy, and explain to you how I figured it out, and it's with stuff that, like, you might have been able to figure out, but probably not. Again, I've said before, I don't really view Moriarty the Patriot as much of a mystery, you know what I mean? It's not really a mystery series. It's more of just, like, a thriller. To me, it's more of like a psychological battle between Sherlock and Moriarty, and we've seen them set up Moriarty. Now we're watching them set up Sherlock, and it's gonna be these two going toe-to-toe, right? Like, there's a reason why it's called Moriarty the Patriot, right? Like, it's Moriarty attempting to fix what he sees as wrong with England, and he's gonna do everything he can to fix it. And that might mean going toe-to-toe with Sherlock, or it might mean using Sherlock, but we'll get to that in just a sec. Another thing that I found really interesting this week is the PV for next week, and that is the fact that we're getting another Sherlock story next week. Like, it's still Sherlock, still John. They seem to be doing something, I don't know, like, but it's another story with them, and I'm a little bummed because I'm like, oh, okay. I kind of wanted to go back to Moriarty and the gang, but, like, hey man, I'm not gonna deny Sherlock. I'll take another Sherlock and Watson story. It's just, you know, I've grown accustomed to those guys. Like, we spent how long with them, and now it's like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna spend, like, the last little bit focusing on Sherlock. I guess? I don't know. Because I believe this show's getting 12 episodes, unless I'm mistaken. So there's, like, 3 episodes left to go. So I guess we'll spend maybe, like, the next 2 or 3 with Sherlock, and then we go on break first for winter, and then I think we're back in spring. I could be wrong. Let me know if I am, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to work. So I assume we're probably going to spend the rest of this core with Sherlock, which is cool and exciting, and I love Sherlock, but at the same time, I'm a little bummed, right? Because it's like, oh, I kind of wanted to hang out with Moriarty and the crew. I'm a little disappointed, but at the same time, hey, you hand me Sherlock Holmes and John Watson, I'm gonna take Sherlock Holmes and John Watson. I'm happy to have them. Just saying, I thought that was interesting, the PV for next week. I don't know if it's gonna be, it is a 2-parter, so I don't know if it's gonna stretch the whole way through. Like, my best guess would be that we spend the next 2 episodes with Sherlock, and then maybe the finale we'll go back to Moriarty. But yeah, it's been interesting, this whole little, like, a study in S thing, because it's so clearly just a study in Scarlet. It's even in John's journal, but it's just cool to see it play out in this version of Holmes, where, like, and I'm not kidding when I say this might be my favorite version of Sherlock. Like, this might be my favorite depiction of him. And, like, yeah, like, you guys know me, I'm an anime guy, so of course I'd say that, but, like, I've seen some great depictions of Sherlock. I'm not taking away from the other ones. I'm just saying that this one might be my personal favorite. Like, just the way that his like, zany kinetic energy is so infectious, and I just think that they absolutely nail the portrayal here. They nail the portrayal, and I would I have a feeling Watson might I might grow to really enjoy Watson's portrayal as well, because he's been fantastic. And Moriarty, oh my god, don't even get me started. Actually, no, let's get started talking about Moriarty. I do have some quick things that I want to talk about in regards to Moriarty this week. I think it's really interesting the way that they played Moriarty. Like, everything that Hope says to Sherlock feels in canon to how Moriarty is presented to Sherlock whenever he is, right? Like, there's always, like, there's this guy, he's taken a very keen interest in you, and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And it feels totally fitting, right? Like, to me, I'm like, yes, that is usually, every depiction of Moriarty depicts Moriarty as getting, like, taking an interest in Sherlock and then testing him. You know what I mean? Like seeing if he'll pass with flying colors, like seeing if he can escape this plan, and he takes a keen interest in Sherlock. And this is still the same way, and it still seems sinister. I mean, look at the friggin' background, man. It's spooky. But we know why he's taking an interest. So we know that, like, yes, it's vaguely sinister, but yet at the same time, we know why. And the reasons why aren't necessarily bad. Like, Moriarty he's Moriarty the Patriot, you know, like, he's trying to save his country from this, like, wretched regime that he sees, and he's trying to fix it, and he's going to use these aristocrats to turn on each other and to show to the world why this system is wrong, right? Like, why the whole setup of this country is wrong. And now he's, like, starting to realize that he can use Sherlock to shine a light on that. And that is friggin' cool. Like that addition to Moriarty's character, where he's like, we're going to turn Sherlock into our main character. Right? And it's like, oh, that's so cool. And you know what else is cool? That friggin' fight with Fred. Like, okay, so who knew Fred was a ninja? I didn't. So Fred is, like, a master of disguise and a ninja. That was crazy cool. That fight was insane. I didn't see that coming at all. Like, when Sherlock, like, chases after Fred and then gets the jump on him, and then Fred, like, judo flips him and then, like, jumps off the wall onto the carriage, and then, like, looks down on them with, like, the cracked old lady face that he made, and he's just like, yeah, that's right, I got away from you because I'm Fred. Hell yeah. And I'm like, my boy, where was that? Like, I knew he was a badass, but I didn't think he was that badass. Like, holy crap. Yeah, Fred really went in this week. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, damn, we're actually getting, like, some fight in here. We're, like, getting, like, a fisticuffs. We're getting some fisticuffs up in here. You love to see it. And again, Ninja Fred. Didn't know I wanted it up until I saw it. And Fred also, I don't know, Fred really shined this week for me. Like, the fact that when Jefferson Hope, like, starts to get sick, he's like, what's wrong? Like, he shows genuine concern. And I have a feeling Fred was the one who pushed to get the ring back. Like, Moriarty and them were like, yeah, like, of course, like, we'll fulfill that request. That's fine. Of course we will. But I have a feeling, like, Fred was responsible. Like, Fred was like, I can do it. I can go there. It's gonna rain. It's raining anyway. I'll put on, like, a disguise. I'll go get the ring back. I do think that was Fred. Like, maybe it was Moriarty, but I like it. I'm gonna headcanon that Fred really pushed for that. Because I just like the idea that Fred is starting to sort of show, like, that Fred can show these, like, human feelings instead of just being, like, the quiet, reserved one in the corner. Yeah, Fred was a badass this week, but obviously the main badass, like, the dude in the thumbnail this week is gonna be Sherlock, because, yeah, just, he's fantastic. But with that said, everybody, that is going to wrap it up for today's video here, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell, set notifications to all, and let all of AniTube know that you're here. And of course, as always, I want to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names, and hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are now 2 ways to do so. The first is by hitting that Patreon link in the description, and the second is by hitting that join button right beside the sub button to get a badge next to your name, some emotes to spam in the comments, and of course your name scrolling past the screen here. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and hit that join button or check out the Patreon link. Either way, it is super appreciated. Oh, also before I forget, I am going to be doing a re-debut of my my Vroid character. Yes, I have lore now. This is gonna be the last time you see me like this. And then by the time tomorrow rolls around, I will be debuting the new Vroid character. I'll also be like doing a lore stream and like a re-debut stream over on Twitch at 6 p.m. EST on the day you see this. So the day this releases, there's a link in the description. You can head over there, check out the debut stream. It's going to be at 6 p.m. EST, so if you want to join me for that, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see you there. And until next time, you stay classy, AnyTube, and you wash your dang hands.